Welcome to the Passive Income Machine podcast, where we show you how to break free from the grind and achieve real financial freedom in 10 years or less. My name is Ryan D. Lee, and I've helped thousands turn income into cash flow, trade fake money for real assets, and take back control over their time, their wealth, and ultimately their life. Each week, you'll get strategy, tools, and mindset to build your own passive income machine. So my friends, sit back, relax, and enjoy today's episode. Hi, my friends. Welcome back to the Passive Income Machine podcast. You are on the microphone today with me, Ryan D. Lee, and today I'm doing a follow-up episode to the previous podcast episode. Today I'm going to be talking about how to operate your vault banking system. In the previous episode, I talked all about the system of the passive income machine and what the vault actually is. An overfunded, high cash value life insurance policy that, when set up as part of the right system, the passive income machine has the ability inside of the vault to generate six figures or more of tax-free, inflation-adjusted income for the rest of your life. But today, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be talking about how we use the leverage, or how we use the vault as a source of liquidity and leverage to multiply every single dollar inside of your economic system. Now, I want you to consider this. Setting up the vault is just the beginning. It's a big step to set up a life insurance contract as part of a wealth plan, but the power comes from the vault when you start using it and operating kind of like a real bank. In the last episode, I talked about how banks work, but consider this. A bank is just a source to multiply money, to literally print money. You have the opportunity inside of your vault to start to duplicate every dollar inside of your financial system. So the first thing that I want you to consider is you are now a bank. And a bank will never let their money sit idle. A bank always moves their money with purpose. In fact, one of the rules of banking is velocity. The faster a bank can move their money, can go from one loan to the next, can take interest that they're gathering and loan it back out, the more they can move their money, the more profitable they are. And in your objective, inside of your banking system, your goal is to move your money with velocity. Now, I like to use my vault in two different ways. I use my vault first and foremost as a foundation to gather all of my reserves. Now, if I'm going to be using leverage, which I'm going to be talking about all over today in this episode, if I'm going to be using leverage, the permission to use leverage is liquidity, right? I have to have the ability to weather the storm because leverage does come with short-term risks associated with it, right? If I'm going to use leverage via 30-year mortgage to buy a property, that property is not going to be a straight line. There's going to be months where I have, repairs or vacancy, and I'm going to have to cover costs that on a spreadsheet I never would have anticipated. But over a long enough time horizon, the leverage that I'm using inside of real estate, inside of the vault, creates exponential wealth. But in order to get that exponential wealth, the asymmetric upside, I have to have enough liquidity to survive the short-term variability of leverage. So the first thing I use my vault for is I use my vault as a storehouse of liquidity. I take all of the liquidity that I need for my personal life, for my real estate investments, and for my business, and I keep it there. Why do I keep it there versus a bank? Well, it's a better place. My money's private, it's protected, it's growing tax-free, and I'm earning a better return in most cases than I could earn in a bank. So I keep my liquidity there, and that money just sits idle, and it's my permission to use leverage on the other side. Now, on the other side, when I'm taking policy loans, I have to shift from a saver to a strategist. I need to strategize of how I'm going to use this banking system to my advantage. I'm going to give you three levels of strategy that I like to go through. The first level of strategy for me, when I set up my very first policy 15 years ago, I set it up with the intention of using it as a tool, as a mechanism to achieve financial freedom. So that's what I'm going to invite you to consider. Strategy number one, using the Vault Financial Strategy, is financial freedom. That's why we set it up as part of a financial system, the passive income machine. And if it's financial freedom first and foremost, you want to use your vault line of credit after liquidity to buy assets. Now, this podcast, I'm not going to go deep on what an asset actually is, but the best form of an asset that I can buy when I'm using a vault line of credit is an asset that generates a return independent of having to sell the asset. This is why it pairs so well with real estate. If I use my vault to buy real estate has multiple different profit centers inside of that property, right? It's going to go up in value. It's going to appreciate. It's also going to give me the ability to amortize the property, meaning I can take a mortgage on that property and let the tenant pay the mortgage for me. But after all of my expense has been paid on the property, if I'm buying the property right, I should generate some form of a positive cash flow. Now, I'll be honest with you, in today's economy right now, cash flow is tighter than it's ever been. Our good buddy Jerome Powell keeps interest rates kind of high, which benefits us on the vault side, but kind of hurts us on the real estate side. But so on that side, what I mean is the cash flow margins are a little bit narrower than they've been in years past, but over a long enough period of time, the property is going to cash flow. And I'm going to take that cash flow as well as all of the other profit that my real estate can generate, and I'm going to use that to pay back the policy loan. That's the benefit, is I can now have my money working in two assets at the same time. So I'm going to talk a lot more about that. But strategy number one, having the vault financial strategy, is I like to use a vault or the beginnings of my vault to achieve financial freedom. Once I'm on the right track there, once I'm on a pace to achieve financial freedom in a time frame that I'm comfortable with, the second thing I like to consider using my vaults for is to recapture and recycle money that would have normally gone through my financial system. I want you to think about this. It's been about a decade now. I remember when I first got going, starting with financial freedom, for me, every dollar that didn't go to financial freedom, it felt like a cost. It felt like an opportunity cost, and I had a very, very hard time spending money. I'll be honest with you. I had a hard time spending money to decorate a house. I had a hard time spending money on going on vacation. I had a hard time spending money on clothes, on anything that wasn't going towards financial freedom. I got a little bit obsessive with that. And I went overboard. And I remember, when I first started doing this, we lived in a house, and it was interesting because you could knock on my front door and the knock would kind of echo throughout the house. The house was literally empty. There was not a couch. There was not a table. There was nothing because, man, every dollar was going to financial freedom. And I remember the house, it came with a couch down in the basement because the people who we bought it from couldn't get the couch back out of the basement. So we got that couch. My parents gave me a kitchen table for a graduation present from college. So we had a kitchen table, and then every bedroom had a bed. And that's it. And I remember one day my wife came in and she's like, Ryan, hey, this is the home that we live in. This is where we're raising our kids, our family. I don't want this to be a house. I don't want it to be, a cardboard box. I want it to be a home, right? And so we kind of went back and forth on this, and she wanted to buy a picture. And I'll never forget this. This was so dumb. So dumb. She wanted to buy a picture, to hang in the front room. So when someone knocked on our front door, they didn't open because the door literally went into the family room, and there was nothing in the family room. She's like, I want to buy a picture. And I'm like, honey, I don't know if you understand this, but that picture, it's going to cost us $60 today. If we put that $60 in the passive income machine and compound that and grow that and blah, 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 it's going to compound and we'll be millionaires in whatever, right? It was so dumb. And she taught me a very, very powerful financial lesson. She taught me the lesson that money is a tool to build and live a life that matters. And if you're not careful in the pursuit of financial freedom, you lose yourself to the future. You lose yourself in the elusive idea that one day when I have enough money, I'll let myself be free. So one of the things that I like to consider doing is looking at my family budget and looking at money that I'm going to spend anyway. And if I'm going to spend that money anyway, why not run it through a vault to where I can capture a long-term benefit of having my money grow and compound and a short-term investment in a life that actually matters? Hey, just jumping in here for 1 second. I really hope you're digging this episode and seeing massive potential for your future. But look, none of this happens without the How to Retire in 10 Years Summit. It's the financial freedom event you absolutely cannot miss this year. We're talking about step-by-step strategies for passive income, financial independence, and total control over your money in 2025. Early registration is happening right now with an exclusive bonus for acting fast. So stop waiting, click the link below, or go to retireit10years.com, and I'll see you on the inside. Now, back to the show. So about a decade ago, we started what we call a lifestyle policy. Now, my wife, she calls it the fun policy. The one rule around that is it can only be used for fun. We can't use it for financial freedom. There's no buying real estate. We only use it for fun. And in the beginning, I was like, this is dumb. But man, I tell you what, over the last decade, we've used that policy to recycle and recapture so much money that would have otherwise flown through our economy. Now it's in our vault reservoir. It's been building up and growing and compounding, and we've been able to leverage it. We've taken our family on wonderful vacations. We just got back from Kauai. We spent a week out there snorkeling, surfing, scuba diving, helicopter riding, just all the things. It was phenomenal. And so when we started this, we looked back at, hey, what's the money that comes in and out of our economy frequently? Things like holidays, things like vacations, things like cars. And rather than letting it come in and out of our economy, we started storing it up in the vault, right? We started saying, let's put it in the vault first. Let's build that capital there, and then we'll leverage our vault to accomplish whatever goal we had. And I can't even tell you, now that fund that started off with a couple $1,000s, it's now well over six figures. Our vault reservoir has grown, so much over the last decade, and we've been able to use it to achieve all of our family objectives. And so having the second strategy of using your vault to recapture and recycle money that would have otherwise flown through your economy. Because think about that. So oftentimes we save our money up and then we spend it. And then next year we have another holiday coming up, so we save up for the next holiday and we spend it. And that happens over and over and over again. Third and final strategy, and I'm not going to spend any time on this one because this one is a rabbit hole that I love, but third and final strategy is legacy. A vault is a tool to perpetuate wealth, not just in a lifetime, but across generations. And vault, part of a family legacy, is one of the most powerful financial tools that you can possibly use. I'll do a whole nother podcast on how we use vaults as part of a family dynasty and a family legacy. But those are the three strategies I want you to consider when you're using your vault. First and foremost, financial freedom. Second, a lifestyle vault to recapture and recycle money. And third, a legacy. Now, I want to talk to you about the mechanics of a policy loan so you understand how you can operate your vault profitably. This is the thing that probably A, confuses people more than anything, and B, once they understand it, it empowers them, it enlightens them, it helps them understand how money works. And when you understand how money works, you can use it as a tool more effectively to build wealth inside of this economy. So here's how the vault works. You've got an overfunded whole life insurance policy guaranteed by an insurance company that you're putting your money into. Now, people ask me all the time, how much money should I put into it? Well, let me ask you, how much money do you want growing and compounding for the rest of your life? How much money do you want being completely tax-free? How much money do you want to be able to duplicate and turn into multiple dollars? Like, you come up with that number, but it should be as much money as you possibly can. Okay, but once your money's inside of this account, your cash value is going to build up. It's going to be growing. It's guaranteed. It's earning a rate of return. But now that cash value becomes a private line of credit that the insurance company stands behind. When you're taking a policy loan, this is how you turn $1 into $2. Your money never actually comes out of your policy. Your money inside of your policy grows and compounds every single year, but the insurance company opens up a very unique privilege, an opportunity to leverage their money, their general fund, up to whatever sum of cash value you have. Your cash value becomes your line of credit, and you're using the insurance company's money when you borrow. Now, here's the mathematical science, the awareness that you have to have. The insurance company is a for-profit company, right? They're a private company, and all of their profits are distributed back to me and other policyholders in the form of a dividend. I want them to make money. They have to make money. And so all they're doing is they're charging an interest rate commensurate to what they probably could have earned elsewhere. So today I'm going to use the interest rate of 5%. Some insurance companies are charging a little bit less than that. Some are charging a little bit higher than that. But I want you to understand the math and how this math works. When you take a policy loan, there's no credit check. There's no approval. You control the repayment schedule. But remember, you are now the bank, right? A system that is designed to create legacy wealth, financial freedom, and just create a massive reservoir of wealth. That's what a bank has to do. They have to look out for the best interests of the bank. But you're also the borrower, and a borrower wants to borrow, based on a consumer, right? Like if you walked into a bank and they handed you money and they gave you no provisions of if you had to pay it back or how to pay it back, you would never pay it back. So inside of your vault, you don't have to ask for permission to take a policy loan. The insurance company says, oh, you've got $50,000 of cash value, you can take a policy loan for $50,000. They don't ask you how you're going to pay it back or when you're going to pay it back. So you have to operate responsibly, not just as a consumer, but as a banker. And so I'm going to use a super simple example just to illustrate a point, although I'm going to also acknowledge at the very same time, I have never used my policy to do this. But what I'm going to illustrate for you is I'm going to illustrate using arbitrage to buy a car. And the only reason I'm going to do this again is because everyone understands how a car works, right? If I want to go out and buy a car today, I've got two options without the vault. I have to save up my cash. I have to wait until I have enough cash in the bank. I then take the cash out of the bank and I go buy the car in cash. If I don't have enough cash saved up, I'm just going to go to the car dealership. They're going to take out a loan for me, and I'm going to spend the next amount of, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, however long the loan lasts for, paying back the loan plus interest to the bank. Now, many people think that when they use cash, they don't have a payment, but they actually do. I know that I'm going to buy a car every 5 to 6 years, and so if I spend all my cash today and go down to zero, then I have to start saving up for my next car purchase 5 to 6 years down the road. Now, maybe I can sell my car and get a little bit of money from it when I go to do the sell, but nonetheless, I'm going to have to come out of pocket for more money to buy the car 5 to 6 years down the road. So I always have a payment, whether I'm saving up my money in cash to prepare for my next purchase or I'm paying back the bank on a loan that I have. All I'm going to do with the policy is I'm going to use the same methodology in a more profitable way. I'm going to use the policy's line of credit to buy the car. But then as a banker with a big picture strategy of making my vault, my banking system as profitable as I can make it, I'm going to set the intention that I'm going to pay back. Even though the insurance company is not going to ask me how I'm going to pay it back or when I'm going to pay it back, I'm going to pay the loan back as frequently, as often, and as strategically as I can. So in this example, let's say we take a $50,000 policy loan to buy a car. Let's say that the insurance company is charging us a 5% interest rate, and let's say I'm just going to make the payments every single month, just like a normal car payment, okay? If I did this, the total loan would be $50,000. I would have to make a payment back to the insurance company of about $943 a month for the next 5 years, and at the end of 5 years, I would have paid the loan off plus interest. In this example, I would have paid the insurance company $56,600, so $6,600 in interest over 5 years at 5%. Now, this is where people start to scratch their head and they say, why, Ryan, would I pay the insurance company $6,600 to borrow their money when I had the $50,000? Why don't I just buy it in cash? Okay, so let's go through the other side of the equation, okay? Remember, your money never came out of your policy. You borrowed the insurance company's money. So for that same 5-year period of time, your $50,000 has been compounding. Now, depending on how long you've had your vault, you might not be hitting the exact 5% interest rate in year one, but usually over a long enough period of time inside of the vault, what you're earning and what you're paying, they equal out. What you're earning and what you're paying are the same thing. Okay, so if I'm paying 5%, I'm earning 5%, and on the surface, you would think that that's a wash. If I'm earning 5 and paying 5, I'm going to come out with, the exact same amount of money that I paid is the money that I made. But here's the difference. You are paying your policy loan back using amortization, using simple interest. It works just like a mortgage. Every time you make a payment, you start to draw down the principal value of your loan, meaning your interest cost goes down with every payment that you make. Where on the flip side, on your cash value, you're earning compound interest. And what that means is that $50,000 after year one, if you earn 5%, you earn $2,500 in interest. That $2,500 in interest rolls into your account. It becomes cash value. It becomes part of your contract, meaning you'll never lose it. It's going to start to compound immediately. And next year, you're now going to earn your 5% interest on not just the $50,000 that you put in, but on the $2,500 of interest that you earned in year one. So in year two, you now earn $2,625 in interest. This is how compound interest works. Your interest starts making interest on making interest. Your money compounds over time. So over a 5-year time frame at 5% compound interest, you would have earned about $13,800. So on the paying side, back to the insurance company, you paid them $6,600. On the earning side, you earned $13,800. You came out ahead with a $7,000 spread on a transaction that you were going to make anyway, which is a car. Now, I preface this example saying I've never used my policy to buy a car, and I haven't. And here's why. I understand how money works. I understand that, listen, I want to keep my money working in the way that's most profitable for me. If I can take my money and go out and put it in real estate and earn a 25 to a 30% return, I'm okay paying the bank, whatever, 5, 6, 7% in interest on a car loan, so I have more liquidity to go build my assets. Does that make sense, that arbitrage? So I've never actually used my policy to buy a car. Now, we did this with my son's policy. That's a whole separate subject, but we did use his policy to buy his truck a couple of years ago. Different example, different reasoning, so I won't go into that. So anyway, with all of that being said, that's how the policy loan works, and this is how you start to become a bank. Every dollar that comes into your life, you now have the opportunity to multiply it, to turn $1 into $2. Now, I want to take this one step further for you before I close out this podcast. Now that you understand how this system works, now the world kind of opens up to you kind of like an oyster. There are an infinite number of opportunities that you can use. Now, I've referenced several times through these last 2 podcasts that I primarily use my investment vault to buy real estate. And here's why. I want you to consider this. What if you had the ability to turn every dollar inside of your financial system into $5, $1 turning into 5 with the simple concept of leverage? I just showed you how powerful leverage is with the vault. What if I could add a little bit more leverage to it? And this is where most people that are practicing the infinite banking concept, in my mind, they kind of get it wrong, right? We live in a world where money is debt, right? Where the only way to become financially free ever, but especially in 10 years, is through leverage. So I don't want to cut out banks. I don't want to replace the banks. I just want to play their same game. And so I set up my vault to be a bank, but then I want to get as much money as I can from the banks, right? I want banks to print money out of thin air and give it to me. So here's how you turn $1 into 5, okay? You put $1 into your vault. That dollar now turns into 2, right? It's doing a long-term job of compounding, and you can leverage the line of credit. So $1 turns into 2 by default with the vault. If you use that dollar of your line of credit as a down payment on real estate, now the bank will bring $4 additional to the table, right? Because you need a 20% down payment, the bank will give you the other 80%. So you put $1 in, and inside of your vault, that $1 turns into 2. You use that second dollar to be a down payment on real estate, and the bank will put in $4 additional. $1 turns into 5 when you use it to buy real estate. That simple fact right there is the secret to financial freedom in 10 years or less. Now, of course, you have to buy the right real estate. You have to have the right strategy. We'll spend a whole nother podcast. We talk about that all the time. But in concept, I want you to consider this. If you could turn every dollar that you had into 5, inside of your financial system, how much faster would your system go? And the reason I love using real estate is we use the assets to pay off the policy loans. And every time we do that, our system starts to move faster and faster and faster. If I only have one asset paying off a policy loan, it's going to take me years. But if I do the same process and that now I have 2 assets paying off a policy loan, I can do it twice as fast, 3 times as fast, 4 times as fast. And so the game of money is really pretty simple when you can bring all of this together. Let me simplify it for you into 3 basic steps. Go make money. Use your God-given gifts, skills, talents, and abilities to solve problems in the world. Go exchange your economic value for dollars, whether it's a business that you run, whether it's a job that you have, whether you're side hustling, whatever it is, go make money. You are the driver of your financial system. Go make it. But stop losing it. Stop spending it. Stop not spending it, but stop letting it float through your economy with nothing to show for it. Start keeping some of the money that you make, and that's where the vault helps you do it. If you can make and keep money, if you can just master those 2 things, you're 80% of the way to financial freedom. Then step number 3. So make money, step number 1, keep money, step number 2, the vault financial strategy. Step number 3, multiply your money. I just gave you a system to do keeping and multiplying your money. Making money, my friends, is on you. So the vault, it's not a product, it's a system. And when you operate like a bank, you now become the most powerful financial system in the modern economy. Don't let banks have all the fun. Become the bank. Operate like a bank. Use cash flow, leverage, and velocity to your advantage, and put this personal banking system to work to achieve financial freedom in 10 years or less. All right, my friends, that's a wrap for today. If you're serious, though, about turning everything we talked about into your new reality, there's only one place you need to be. It's the How to Retire in 10 Years Summit. This is your chance to learn exactly how to unlock financial freedom and build passive income in 2025. Early registration is live right now with an exclusive bonus for our early action takers. Don't miss out. Head to the link in the show notes or just head on over to retireintenyears.com and I'll catch you at the summit.